Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. I'm Ananda, the Galactic Mystic, and this is Navigational Astrology. Let's talk about our first new moon of 2024. This is the new King moon, also the Wolf moon, and she's pretty special. So let's get into it. So if you've been with me for a while, you might recognize the old intro. You also may already know this, but for those who don't, in December, I was not only sick for the whole month, but I had a major tech crash where I lost a lot of things. One of the things I lost was the newer intro and outro. Outro. Is that a word? I think it's a word. And so those are gone. And that's fine. Luckily, I still had the old ones. And, there's something nostalgic about this old intro. I've always loved it. And I've heard from a lot of you that you love it too. So she's back for however long she's back. So this new moon, there's a lot to talk about here, but I'm going to try and keep this relatively short because none of us have the bandwidth for lengthy discussions right now, right? This is our last new moon in Capricorn with Pluto in Capricorn. We only get one new moon, usually one new moon and one full moon in each zodiac sign. So this is it for Capricorn new moons with Pluto and Capricorn. This is a major cycle closing from 2008. And this is one of those things where, if you have a bit more age on you, like I do, and you've been paying attention for the past 15 years, you can probably find the pulse of what this cycle of Pluto and Capricorn was for you. I mean, for some of us, it's been major, major life changes. And now that we are stepping into a new era, it's important that we take the time to close cycles. We love starting new cycles and, getting on with it. But there's something really important and sacred about taking the time to properly close a cycle. So in a way, this new moon offers us an opportunity for that. We'll have other opportunities. It's not so serious like that, but this is a really good one. This is a highly galactic new moon. We have Venus at the Great Attractor, and we have Mercury at the Galactic Center. This moon, well, I'm going to save the rest of that for when I pull the chart up, which let's do now. Also, for those of you who don't know me, I'm a minister of metaphysics and a longtime astrologer, mystic, and folk witch. I've been doing this my whole life, and I don't guess I'm ever going to stop. So if you would like to come and get a reading from me, I would be honored and blessed to have you as a client. So let's get into this moon. Okay, so here we have our Capricorn new moon, our sun moon conjunction at 20 degrees and 44 minutes of Capricorn. This is happening January 11th, 2024 at 6:57 a.m. Eastern Time. Now, here we have Venus at the Great Attractor, bringing in the question of what is fated and what is free will. And how do I manage my effort with those things in mind? The Great Attractor generally asks us to relax and to allow things to come to us as we trust the gravity of our lives. So for all of us, this is in play right now. And we can actually carry this for the next year. This relaxing into the flow and gravity of our lives, and then letting things come to us for us to choose between. That's how we find our way. Then we have Mercury here at the Galactic Center, giving us access to ideas, wisdom streams straight from the gravitational center of our galaxy. Now, carry around something to record your ideas. Know that what comes to you right now may need an incubation period. Often it's, between 6 and 12 months. Sometimes it's a perfect 9 months. But just know that sometimes we get these ideas for later implementation. And that could be what some of these things that come to us now are about. Could also be asking us collectively to kind of put our attention forward about 9 months. So that would be in the fall. Just kind of an interesting thing to kind of stick a pin in. The other thing is that the moon and Mars are both out of bounds. The moon is wildly out of bounds, meaning that, what we think of normally when it comes to the moon and Mars is not the situation here. We have access to things that are outside the boundaries that are sometimes in place. So with the moon, this is our emotional, our lunar material, our subconscious, our unconscious, our inner child, our inner darkness, the parts of us that are our most sensitive, psychology, and manifestation. In many cultures, the moon is connected with abundance. And so there's actually an Irish tradition that on a new moon, if you go outside and whatever you have in your hand, you say, I see the new moon and the new moon sees me. God bless the moon and God bless me. And that is, it's said that whatever is in your hand will increase as the moon increases. Of course, a new moon, you can't see the moon because the moon is with the sun. So don't go outside looking for the moon unless you wait until there's that first little fingernail crescent, which would be appropriate for this practice. Just a little share. So here we have Pluto. Pluto is not quite conjunct this lunation, but conjunct by sign. And of course, Mars here as well. Now, we do need to talk about, well, let me not skip ahead. With Mars and Pluto here, with this, we are, of course, bringing in themes of power, control, shared resources, and how we're going to use our energy. Are we going to use our energy ruthlessly, or are we going to use our energy wisely? I'm going to talk about that in a moment. So our ruler of this new moon, Saturn, here in Pisces at 4 degrees, 14 minutes of Pisces, conjunct the royal fixed star Fomalhaut, which I will, in the description box, I will leave a link there to an article I wrote about Fomalhaut. Fomalhaut is one of the most benefic fixed stars that we have, known as the Watcher of the South. Archangel Gabriel is connected with this star. If you're into that, if you're into the angels and the archangels. The South, though, the South in many indigenous cultures is connected with a place of receiving, a place of being a student, of learning, sort of sitting at the feet of wisdom and allowing ourselves to be filled with new resources. I think that's pretty powerful, especially now when everybody thinks, everybody thinks they know what they're talking about. Everybody is so rigid. when truly, what if we just softened that up a little bit and allowed ourselves to have access to other people's ideas and vice versa? Reciprocity, right? Something else that's actually very important about this new moon is that it is exactly square the moon's nodes. Exactly. So here we have the north node and the south node, and the sun and moon are exactly square. So this brings in collective karmic reckoning. And whenever we have the sun squared the nodes, we always have issues about identity. What have we given ourselves as a people? What have we given power over us to say who and what we are? And that's pretty potent considering what's happening in the world right now. Um, and this is relevant for us and for every other country that exists. With all of these wars and conflicts going on, it's really easy to forget that these are all decisions made by a handful of little boys. The people are not a part of that. People, we all want peace. Generally speaking, all people want to live in peace and harmony, right? So let's remember that when we are looking at other countries. And also, I'm in the United States. I request that the rest of the world remember that about us as well. We are not our government. They are not our identity. It's time for, we have to decide how we're going to get over this, how we're going to reclaim who we are and how we want to be working in the larger scale of humanity. Ugh. So something I also want to just kind of drop out here for us all to just kind of have in our back pockets. Later this month, on the 27th of January, Uranus will station direct. Now, from that point until April 1st, all planets are direct, all of them, even all of the outer planets. So just kind of know that this is that time of year when we can actually gain some momentum. It's a little bit contrary to the cycle. So with all the planets being direct until April, we've got February, March, we've got 2 months. Let's get some stuff done. Let's do some of the things that we have been procrastinating on. And that's me. I'm talking to me. I procrastinate like crazy. Okay, so I mentioned in the beginning that this is the new king moon. So I'm actually going to read something to you from this book, The Nordic Animist Year by Rune Rasmussen. I highly recommend this book. Rune is not only a beautiful human, very wise, he has put in an incredible amount of research into this book. And you can only buy it. I believe, at least when I bought it, you could only buy it from him personally, which I think is really special. And I always like to support independent authors like that. So I want to read to you a little bit about what this new king moon is all about. So the new king moon is the first new moon after the winter solstice. And, traditionally, Yule would have been the first full moon after the first new moon after the winter solstice. So this is that first new moon. So our next full moon would actually be Yule. Interesting. So, so this moon was greeted with offerings and prayers for wealth and fertility in the coming year. And here is an example of a prayer from Sweden about this new moon. Welcome, new king. Welcome, Lord, with grain and with seed, with sun and with warmth, with pork and lard and good beer and harvest. Feed the cow in the stall, give oat to the goose, the hogs in the forest, the threshers in the barn, the fish in the river, feed the cow in the stall. Now, there were also sexual aspects to this day because it was connected to fertility and wealth. And the Danes used to pray for milk in our bucket and to our women, a good, healthy man. And Icelanders knew that a wife should take good care of her husband on this day. A strange ritual from southern Sweden has boys and girls all wearing girls' dresses, dancing in a circle, singing, "We curtsy for the new. We give offerings because we dance around, around, and all around." I like the cross-dressing aspect. And at the first line, "We curtsy for the new," all the children curtsy to the moon. At the second line, which is "We give offerings because," the children would throw salt and ashes over their shoulders. And at the third line, "We dance round, round, around, around," they would dance around. And in Iceland, it was the duty of the man of the house to receive the first month of the year by performing this strange ritual, which was him pulling down his trousers, letting them remain hanging by a leg as he hopped on one leg around the house. That sounds fun to watch. So Rune shares that the new moon was important because this opening day of the moon represented what was to come. The opening of the life cycle of the moon in a given year was somehow iconized in this day, as if this particular new moon comprised all the new moons of the year and thereby held the fortune of the whole year. This is why it called for offerings and prayers. It's called the new king, but women take omens of their future spouses and little boys wear girls' dresses. The erotic and trans element of the ritual on this important day is a testament to the sexual aspects of the cyclicity of the year. Thank you, Rune. Isn't that interesting? I love that. So Capricorn asks us to dig deep. With a huge spectrum between the higher and lower manifestations of Capricorn energy, this is the energy of mastery of this world of density, this dense world. And I don't mean mastery as in power over or like taking it by the scruff of the neck or by mastering the corporate world or mastering money, achievement, algorithms, fitting in better, getting more approval. I don't mean any of that. What I do mean is recognizing the true nature of the matrix we live in, having the courage to kind of wipe the hypnotized haze from our eyes a little bit. And I mean by that the parts of our world that are man-made, the structures of our world that are not natural. They are human-made. They are structures that we are so immersed in that we can't tell the difference between what life on earth as a human being could be without all of that. So we have a powerful moment with this new king moon in Capricorn. It can be a confronting moment, for sure. Now, Saturn in Pisces at Fomalhaut is absolutely requiring that we allow our illusions, delusions, our escape mechanisms to become real and tangible. And that's a beautiful thing because it isn't about perfection and suddenly stepping into mastery of all of this. That's another lie of this matrix, that we have to get it perfect, that we have to hurry up and ascend, that we have to hurry up and get it right. It's not about that. Capricorn also asks us to recognize the difference between suppressing our big feelings and walking toward and inviting in the full human experience, which includes big, big feelings. And, recognizing that our feelings are not meant to have all of this meaning put to them. They're meant to be felt. They're meant to be felt and pass through us. They're not meant to be what we use to make our decisions by, because our emotions can be affected by things like blood sugar, our hormones, and all kinds of aspects of our biology. Doesn't mean they're not real. Our emotions are very real and they should be honored, but they're not meant to be our primary source of deriving meaning of things. So, time to get real about what we have been avoiding. If we're going to put our heads in the sand about things, let's at least own that that's what we're doing. It's one thing to know we don't have the capacity for something and to manage our focus and energy in a way that's nourishing. And it's another way to do it unconsciously and mindlessly. And that's how we become a safe place for ourselves. And that's where all the magic is. So, in closing, let's take, Capricorn has 3 forms. We have the goat, who is climbing that mountain very skillfully. You can see that as like master, like trying to climb the ladder of what the dominant culture tells us how we get our value. Does that make sense? Then we have the magical sea goat, who has integrated the mundane and the sacred. And then we have the unicorn, who has mastered this realm and thus becomes supernatural. That's how we ascend. That's how we become supernatural humans. It's actually very natural for us to be supernatural because we are not meant to sever parts of us. We are meant to integrate the mundane and the sacred. And Capricorn, that's truly what Capricorn and Saturn are all about. So I send you all my love. Let me know how you are and let me know how this all lands for you. And a very, very blessed, abundant new king, new moon for you and for all of us everywhere. I'll see you soon.